Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am really glad you're here. Today's date is Monday, March 31st, 2025. This morning, I was reading with interest a lot of speculation about a major White Swan event, which is being hinted at from certain quarters that it is going to come to fruition and be a major event. I'm going to take you to a share screen, show you where I first read this and a little commentary along with it. And then we'll look at White Swan events in general, and then this one that's being hinted at specifically using the tarot. I'm going to take you to that share screen now. One moment. So on Facebook, where I'm still banned, Pepe Deluxe, and there's some speculation that the gentleman behind Pepe Deluxe seems to have some features that have John F. Kennedy Jr.-esque um, traits to them. So there's even some speculation of who is Pepe Deluxe. He had a long post, and I'm not going to read it all to you. You can find it over on Facebook. As I said, I'm not allowed there. I had to, but I was able to get a copy of it here, and it was dated for March 29th. And he talks about a major White Swan event. He said, everything has been building toward White Swan. It isn't just an operation, it's the end game of a military and spiritual war, generations in the making. Now, this aligns with what we learned over the years from the 17 team. He goes on to talk about how Trump never gave up, and despite rigged elections, unleashed bioweapons, they buried him in courtrooms, opened borders, and orchestrated collapse, but he stood firm and he remained with the military. And if you listen to Derek Johnson, he gives some really compelling evidence that we are still, according to the military justice, we are still in a wartime president situation. You know, that 45-47, the dash has meaning. Okay, anyway, it talks about the signs are everywhere that they are that the deep state is trying to do some counterattacks, but that it's just not working very well. They're panicked. He says Macron is cracking, Trudeau is missing, Zelensky has lost grip, the Vatican is sealed, Gitmo is full, military tribunals are expanding offshore, former governors, senators, judges gone. The media calls it coincidence. It's not. These are quiet arrests, deals, executions. The purge is real. So he goes on to talk about how this is the White Swan event is going to come to um, that this deliberate White Swan event is going to be made very obvious very soon. Okay, that it isn't a threat, it's a signal. Okay, the final sweep before the truth floods in. When the board is ready, the emergency broadcast system will override everything. The quantum grid will shift, mainstream networks will vanish, and for the first time in over a century, the world will hear the truth. Okay, so that's what he had to say. Then I further went on and did a little sleuthing. Back in 2022, Dan Scavino posted a white swan, and at that time there was some other information saying that just because there's a white swan possible event, it doesn't mean full speed ahead. And indeed, we saw that in 2022. We've seen some steps towards big events, haven't we? We have seen President Trump back in office despite everything they threw at him. We have seen some major arrests, although we haven't seen evidence of follow-up arrests from those events. So we have seen White Swan events happen. They do happen. I further went on and asked Grok to explain the difference between a Black Swan event and a White Swan event. And according to this summary that I got, a Black Swan event is something rare, unexpected, and totally catches people off guard. A White Swan event, on the other hand, is more like a storm you can see brewing on the horizon. The question for the tarot is going to be today, is it true that an unusually large White Swan event is in process, plus additional insights and information will be welcomed? So in the alt media community, today especially, there is chatter about a White Swan event and that it is a major one, not one of the steps we've seen towards the end game result we'd like to have made public. Now, I've learned in my years as a person seeking truth call me a conspiracy theorist. I call myself a truth seeker. I've learned to be realistic and have realistic expectations so that I get pleasant surprises rather than disappointments and get discouraged. And indeed, for this case, I think this might be wise events, but there were some interesting nuggets with what I shared. For example, they talked about a storm, and even President Trump, when asked by reporters at one point about the storm, when he referenced a storm, he said, "You'll find out." And I do believe that a plan has been in motion for decades. I do believe it is coming to a time when they're going to have to stop trying to pretend that the old uh, paradigm is still in place, that these doubles and AI deepfake persons are going to have to step aside and we can see the new reality. I think they should do it while it's still, to some extent, coming into place so people can kind of accept and open up to it as it unfolds rather than fully unfolded. But that's just my opinion, and they don't ask my opinion as they make military strategy, nor should they. So I do want to be hopeful that a White Swan event that was mentioned by the in this Facebook post and created some chatter. I wanted to just ask if there's a major one that we can anticipate. We have heard that President Trump is calling April 2nd Liberation Day, but that seems to be more in connection with the tariffs. I'm hoping there's other good financial news there, but I'm just expecting, again, reasonable expectations. I'm expecting to learn more about what these tariffs are going to mean to average American citizens and taxpayers. That's what I'm hoping to learn more, but I'm open to pleasant surprises that are much, much more. Let's ask the universe about this White Swan event that, according to the chatter, the one that they're talking about now may be major, maybe, the end game type of thing. So let's ask about that, okay? And we'll find out together what the universe wants us to know about White Swan events and current events and the blend of the two. So we're told that white swan events happen fairly often, and you can see them coming. And certainly, we have seen some signs of big changes on the horizon. And so we're just sincerely asking the universe here to give us some insights and information, with our yes or no element to the question being, is it true that an unusually large, the white swan event that we've all been waiting for is headed our way in the very near future as we measure time, plus additional insights and information. So let's see how close we are to that end game coming to fruition. We do have a yes or no element to this question about, is it true that an unusually large and epic white swan event is going to be unfold and finalized, plus additional insights and information. Okay, we've got the Four of Cups, the Nine of Cups, a nod to the fast-paced current events with the Eight of Wands, Page of Swords for the current. Near future cards include the Five of Swords, Page of Cups, and Queen of Wands. Okay. Guys, I think I was on point when I said I advised and shared that I've learned to have reasonable expectations and then be set up for pleasant surprises, not disappointments. We're not getting any indication yet in the cards that this White Swan event that's referenced and getting some chatter and gaining some traction as far as talking points seems to be what's going to unfold in the next few days, the very near future as we measure time, because I was trying to be real specific about that. However, we are going to be getting there is a nod to, there are a lot of things in play right now. Absolutely. The Page of Swords talks about truth and reason for cautious optimism. So that's good there. We've got some good news in these cards, even though we didn't get yet at this point so far a confirmation that the White Swan event that's getting some chatter and getting some traction in talking points is the one that is going to be the one, the definitive and final one. So let's look at the good news we've got so far. We've got some truths headed our way that we're going to be really happy to hear. These are going to be emotionally charged type of news that people are going to be happy to hear. So we've got that. We've got some truth headed our way. So that is talking about disclosures. And again, I think some more of the white hat moves are going to be apparent in the near future, though. They're going to be, it looks like, again, this is telling us that there's been some wins, but not the biggies yet to be disclosed and shared. There's still some things going on in the background. There's still some players to position and things to take care of. The Page of Cups says, though, we've got some pleasant surprise headed our way. Again, we're going to get some news in the near future that we are happy about, absolutely happy about. And then the Queen of Wands, kind of for our final insight card here, she talks about, being using your intellect and being objective, okay, clear thinking. And again, hearkening back to that, have reasonable expectations so you get pleasant surprises. Okay, but I mean, by all means, if I see the card saying yes, Tower moment is here, they're going to have full disclosures and we're going to finally be telling even the normies what we've known on back channels for years. I would share that with you. I'm not seeing that yet. I'm going to get two more cards though, and we'll see what the universe wants to share. Okay, we've got the Two of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles. Again, kind of confirming what I'm saying. We're going to get some news that's going to make us happy, but it's not, there are still projects and events that are still unfolding in the background. So right now we're still playing a little bit of that waiting game, guys, but we do have some good news headed our way. Just don't expect this White Swan event to be the be all and end all that we've waited for. There is a storm brewing. There is going to be some news connected to that storm, and that storm is white hat news and information, and that's good. But again, reasonable expectations, and then you get yourself set up for pleasant surprises, not disappointment. So let's recap. There is some chatter about a White Swan event in alt media circles that's gaining traction. It's getting, people are getting excited, which is nice to see. It's just you don't want to be so excited and eager that if things aren't exactly as big as you hope they were, you get disappointed. So we asked the universe, this White Swan event that's being talked about, that mirror points a lot of things that the 17 team has told us for years. So we know it's things that are coming. Are we there yet? We're like little kids in the back seat of the car. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So the universe was asked, is it true that there's an unusually large White Swan event in process that's going to be publicly disclosed and shared in the very near future, plus additional insights and information? None of the cards were a hard yes. There were cards that confirmed we have some good news headed our way, but it is not the be all and end all. One of the things I shared was back in 2022, Dan Scavino posted a picture of a White Swan event. And again, White Swan events are some big marker events, but you kind of get inklings that they're coming. And indeed, we're getting some with the resignations and the shuffling about with some of the supposed leaders in different countries and what they're doing, the shenanigans they're up to, or how they're leaving the public stage quietly. So we're getting some. We know there's things that are happening, and thank goodness there is more. If you've got eyes to see and ears to hear, there is more things we're going, that's a white hat thing. We're getting closer. We're making progress. The universe talked about, first of all, the situation was indicated with the Four Cups. So there's some things that are obvious, but in the background, there's still going to be a little more going on. The news we are going to get, the information that is going to come out that will be shared is something that's going to be we're going to be glad to hear it. There's a nod to the fact that there are still a lot of events that are going on in the background. We know there are there are consequences happening and in distant lands, and the military. This is all military operations that are shared at least to some extent with the public. We do have some truth that's coming our way. And again, this is going to create that happy outcome unless you're expecting it all to unfold and be known, and then you're going to end up being a little disappointed. The just time and again, the cards are saying, "Hey, you got a pleasant surprise headed your way. You do. You got some truth that is going to be shared. There is a White Swan event that we can anticipate. It's not the definitive final one of all time." And that's just the way it's said. There's things still in process, guys. Still in process, still unfolding. If you're waiting for the big one, there's still a little waiting to do. Okay? So we can anticipate, we being those that consider ourselves awake, that we are not no longer programmed by the mainstream media. Those of us that seek truth and have at least a inkling of some of the military strategy and 5D chess that's in play, we're going to have some good news. We are going to be glad for what we hear. And unless we've set ourselves up for disappointment by wanting it all, wanting it today, we're going to be happy with what we hear. So, word to the wise, like I said, I'll say it one more time before I say goodbye. Have reasonable expectations. There is cleanup underway. There is progress being made. Nothing can stop what is coming. Okay. All of that is still true. Absolutely. Have reasonable expectations that there's going to be some disclosures and truth that is shared with us, and set ourselves up for some pleasant surprises if it's even more. That's it for this video. I noticed in the background a cat knocked down one of my display tarot cards. I got to fix that. Oh, those little stinkers. Okay, well, until next time, if you're willing to receive it, I send you love, light, and I wish you everything bright. And I thank you so much for listening to my content. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. If you're a resubscriber, I really thank you. And feel free to like, share these videos, and subscribe if you haven't. Bye.